The final season of the popular video game adaptation Castlevania hits Netflix, so let's finally talk about this last season. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Justin. I love to watch movies. I love Castlevania. If you guys do too, you guys are in the right spot. Make sure to hit that subscribe button down below and click that bell notification for more up and coming content. Castlevania Season 4 is finally on Netflix. This is the final season, unfortunately, of the very popular, very successful video game franchise. In the epic final season of Castlevania, Wallachia collapses into chaos as factions clash, some attempting to take control, others attempting to bring Dracula back from the dead. Nobody is who they seem and nobody can be trusted. These are the end times. I really love Castlevania from the first season, which only was a few episodes, to this 10 episode fourth season. You really feel like things are in absolute chaos in this season. There is so much going on. Certain storylines are coming to an end. There's so many different storylines going throughout this fourth season, but they all kind of come together at the end in this big, epic conclusion to this Castlevania series. The last couple episodes are just like this big all-out battle, and I absolutely was there for it. This season picks up after the third season, and Trevor and Sypha are together. I really love them as a couple, and they are picking up and they are dealing with all of these monsters that are wreaking havoc, and their storyline is constantly them defeating these monsters and learning of each other's abilities, becoming more comfortable as a pair, and I love them together. It felt like a video game when it was them two together, because there was nods to the video game franchise and all of the monsters that they were defeating along the way. It's constantly non-stop, to the point where there's an episode where he just wants to sit down and be left alone because of how much he is doing. Trevor feels like a minor character at times when it comes to this season. And that's not a bad thing per se, because a lot of the time he is trying to defeat these monsters and doing what he does best. There are certain storylines that feel like they are more important to the overall season this time around compared to Trevor and his abilities. We're continuing the relationship between Isaac and Hector, who were alongside Dracula, his only two human generals, and their conflicting relationship. Each one has their own agenda, and there is a solo episode that is dedicated to the relationship, and watching it come to a full head within the season. I loved each character on their own, but as we get them together, there is this friction between them two, and there's very intriguing conversations between the two. And what I love about this season of Castlevania, what Castlevania does very well, is that it gives time for these characters to fully develop. Some characters don't get the most amount of time, but when we do get them, there's some pretty lengthy conversations between the two to really feel like they are fully developed within the season. There's some lengthy conversations between Hector and Isaac, and catching up to what has happened in the third season and where they are now and their agendas and what Hector wants, what Isaac wants, and it fully comes into form in this fourth season. And with the synopsis, we do learn that there is an overarching plot of trying to bring back Dracula, and that provides that sense of urgency within this fourth season, because we don't want that to happen. There's new characters that are introduced. These characters have these big agendas, and they will stop at nothing to bring back Dracula, and they have to do certain things to bring back Dracula. And watching Trevor and Alucard trying to prevent that from happening really does provide that sense of urgency in those intense moments as each episode gets closer and closer to episode 9 and episode 10, and watching everything kind of come into form and all the characters coming together, because each character's kind of got their own little side story, their side quests. Some are trying to take control of certain things, some are trying to protect things from happening, and then watching them all come together. It's very epic. The 9th and 10th episode are all out just crazy fun, watching these characters throughout the season come together, and just happens in this epic fashion to where you miss some of them together, and now they're together once again and you're there for it. I was worried with 10 episodes how the pacing would be, since it is the final season. There are a lot of different stories that are going on, but the pacing always feels right. They're always introducing these new characters at the right moment, progressing them throughout each episode, and giving you what you love about these characters in this beautiful animation form. It continues to be absolutely brutal, and all of the new monsters and demons and vampires, whoever is introduced, is absolutely brutal with all of this chaos that is going on, and it just never feels slowed down because of how many things are being introduced and how many times Trevor has to defeat something or try to protect himself. It always provides that brutal animation while also managing to feel urgent, and that chaos is just absolutely taking control of this season. Carmilla is another character that gets a really good storyline in here, and her abilities absolutely are insane in this season, and she feels so confident within herself. And that's what I love about this season, is a lot of these characters like Carmilla and Trevor, they have a lot on their plate. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of factions trying to take control of this storyline of trying to bring back Dracula. A lot of people trying to take control of certain things. They have to really step up as characters. They really have to step up as characters, and they're confident in who they are and their abilities in trying to stop this plot of bringing back Dracula. I don't want Castlevania to end. I absolutely loved this season. It was epic from beginning to end. It was bloody. These characters have a chance to really grow, and you loved the urgency within it and all the journey from beginning to end, and all the new characters that are introduced, and all of the characters, how they have these lengthy conversations that feel important to the overall story. I heard there's going to be a spin-off of sorts to the series, but I would love to see the continuation of Trevor and all of the characters within Castlevania, because this is probably one of the best video game adaptations I have seen, and I do not want it to end. But for a final season, I think it ends very nicely. They conclude the stories for these characters in a nice fashion to where you feel like it's satisfying. And if this really is the end to Castlevania, you would be okay with that. I'm gonna go ahead and give the final season of Castlevania an A-. Thank you guys for checking my review for the last season of Castlevania. Have you guys seen it by chance? What do you think about it? Let me know in the comment section down below what you thought of this season, and stay tuned for more up and coming content. My name is Just Watches Movies, and you guys stay classy, YouTube.